Across the Park podcast is proud to be sponsored by Globe Gas and Heating. For the best kitchen and bathroom renovations, boiler servicing and repair, and central and underfloor heating in the Northwest, head over to globecentralheating.com and quote Across the Park for a free quote.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Across the Park podcast. It's myself, Judgy, joined by a special guest this week, Chris Appleton, who I'll bring in a moment. But yeah, we're back this week with another episode. We will be covering the Man United defeat at the weekend, another disappointing one for Sean Dyche and his team. We've now got a 3-week gap, so it's a difficult one, or these times with the podcast. But we'll try and keep some content coming your way, and hence the reason why we've got Chris in today to talk about a great cause and a challenge he's taken on this month, which is far more admirable than what the players are doing on the pitch. Just want to start with a little bit of housekeeping as always, and a little bit of sad news for Blues, across the globe, and certainly for fans of the club. It's Jimmy Husband. Massive, commiserations to his family. Jimmy Husband passed away at the weekend on Saturday night. Absolute Everton legend. So again, thoughts and prayers go out to Jimmy's family, and again, best wishes from Across the Park podcast. Another bit of sad news on the pitch aside from the men. The women went out to the FA Cup on Sunday. So again, a fantastic effort from the women. It was a very admirable effort against the holders. Chelsea fought right to the very end, but they succumbed to a second half goal. So again, congratulations to the women for a good run in the FA Cup, but again, went out admirably to Chelsea. Massive thank you to our sponsors, as you heard in the intro there. Globe Heating and Gas, huge supporters of the podcast, so thanks again to them. And to Tick Property Group, who will be bringing in later in the show. The fantastic Claire will be talking to you about what they can offer you as listeners and followers of the podcast. So again, without further ado, Chris, thank you very much for coming in and joining us. And before we get started and get into the Blues, talk to us a little bit about what you've been doing for your good friend Chris as well.
Yeah, so Chris worked for me for a good few years. He was my apprentice. Top lad, great footballer. And then found out just started January, he'd been taken into hospital. Went in with a bit of tonsillitis, and then quite quickly found out that he'd been diagnosed with leukemia. So big shock for family, friends, everyone at work. Like I say, really well liked lad. I do a bit of training, little bits here and there, but I'm kind of wanting to be doing this challenge for a while. So it's doing a kilometre for every day of the month. So on the first you do 1, 2, 3. So it starts off not too bad, and kind of by the end it gets pretty heavy. But as soon as I went to see him in hospital, dead positive. He was really positive, and I just thought, and I asked him then. I just said, "Listen, I've been wanting to do this for a while, and it feels like a great cause, and support you." And he was on board with it. So kind of started from there, and started 1st of March. So I picked a nice 31-day month. Which wasn't the best.
Not February. There's not a good month.
It was a leap year this year as well. So.
Yeah, there's not a good month, I think, from a run perspective. Just briefly on Chris, if you don't mind me asking.
Yeah.
How old is Chris?
He's 28, I believe.
Oh my God.
So yeah, he's no age. And he played for the Everton academy, I think, up to about 15, 16. Wow. So great player, great on the work team when we had him there.
Oh yeah,
bit of a ringer. But I think he's been playing like Northwest Counties, so he's still active, fit, young lad.
What does he do then? Sorry, what did you say, Chris?
So we work at United Utilities, so that's where he was my apprentice there. Like I say, I worked with him for about 5-6 years. I still keep in touch and little bits like that. Always about football, Everton. Less positive about Everton recently. So he's a Blue as well? He's a Blue, we're both Blues, yeah. Everton aren't doing him much favours in terms of cheering him up.
No.
So, but yeah, he's like I say, he's dead positive. And for me, it is a challenge. It's tough. I think it starts off. I'm on day 11 today, so I've done 11k this morning. Not too bad. Still easing in, but I think even when it gets tough, you kind of puts things in perspective. I've got to run 20k, and the things that he's going through every day. So he's in hospital in Wiston at the minute, and he's got 3 lots of treatment. and then he's got to go to Clatterbridge, and he has the bone marrow. So just fingers crossed. I think everyone's just fingers crossed for him. Hoping he makes a quick recovery. So
absolutely, and again, it goes without saying that, you know, best of wishes from the Across the Park podcast.
Yeah,
I mean, I consider myself something of a runner, so I'll definitely get along to a few of the runs.
That'd be mega.
But yeah, just for the viewers and anyone who's interested, the link is below. Chris, it is in the link, but just tell us how many kilometres you'll be running over the course of
496 over the course. So like the last few weeks is like about a couple of 100k in a week. So
that's serious, that.
Yeah, serious. So I can't really train for that, can you? So
no, you can't.
I've done bits, but yeah, I think, like say, mentality, I think is going to be the one. Just I've had loads of support as well. People from work are going out with one of his colleagues from work tomorrow. And that's been a big help.
It is, yeah.
Chatting through the run and stuff. So it's been.
I know I haven't done a challenge to that extent, but I've done a lot of ultras. I've done, you know, a 4x4 by 48 where you run every 4 miles.
Challenge.
Yeah, I've done that a few times. So I know it's definitely the mental challenge. But I agree with you. I've always done it for a cause, and generally you're thinking about the people who are at the heart of this cause are having that battle every single moment of the day, let alone like just for those. That hour or two that you're on that run, so that's definitely the way to approach it. I hope you got some physios on speed dial as well.
I need to box them in, I think. Yeah,
and you know what, the nutrition's one as it goes on as well. Just making sure
that's it. Eating clean, trying to loads of water, and then I think by the end it'll just be like eating whatever I can. Just like
eating while you're running as well as another one.
Yeah.
But again, fantastic cause, and it is in the description for this episode. So please, if you can, donate. The podcast will be donating. We've had a few people who work with the podcast who said this morning, you know, looking forward to donating. And again, even if it's just £1, £2, anything helps. He's already smashed his target. Your target, it was £500. You're like $2,500. Just shows, doesn't it? It amazes you, doesn't it? How
unbelievable.
How people open their hearts when they realise things like this are going on, and people like you are stepping up. So.
No, appreciate it.
All credit to you, mate. So in terms of on the subject of battles, and it's nowhere near, as you say, what's going on in what is the real world, but the club themselves have got a battle on the hands on and off the pitch, but we're going to focus on the pitch today.
Yeah.
You watched the game at the weekends. I was unfortunate enough to go to the game. I'm going to bring in some social media questions that we've got, but I'll bring that in after we've looked at the game itself, because they're more about the current situation with the manager and people's thoughts on who they feel is culpable. But what was your, I guess, reaction to the performance?
I think it's been typical the last few weeks. I thought we played pretty well. I thought they were there for the taking, to be honest. Watch the game with me lad, upset him again. But yeah, I thought we were there for the taking, to be honest. And I thought, in patches, we played really well. We played some good football. I know we had a chat about it before, but you know, we played some really good football. Dominated parts of the game, and just not taking them chances again. And I think that's what's costing us, isn't it? Not getting that goal. I think we'd got an early goal. I think it changes the game. You can relax a bit more. But yeah, I think for me, it's hard to pull apart the performance, because actually, other than not scoring, which is the most important bit, I thought we played all right.
Yeah, you know, a couple of mistakes from the defenders for the goals, and you know, I thought the manager actually responded quite well to that in saying that, look, our defence in general has not been the problem. You know, as a team, we've defended really well. Yeah, there's been a couple of mistakes from the defenders today and they cost us, but I think dwelling on that would be a little bit unfair. Is that a fair comment?
I think so. Yeah, I think we've been really strong defensively. But I think maybe going forward from defence a bit, you know, I think we're a bit limited there. Some of them balls into the box, like Godfrey, I think he's a great player, but maybe going forward, I think we lack a bit there. So, and I think that's that fluidity going forward. That's where, you know, we're getting chances, but not clear cut sometimes. We're getting a lot of half. So, yeah, I think it probably is a fair shot.
Aside from the missed chances, which you've obviously just touched on, is there anywhere particular on the pitch where you think, do you know what, maybe that's where the manager could take a gamble, or where you know we could be doing something a little bit different? I think it's a tough one for me to put my finger on, but I'll maybe give some way.
I think the only thing for me is I think we look a little bit slow. I think across the field and across all the positions, I think we lack a bit of that lightning pace, that person who can just beat that man. And I think number 10, I think Decore is doing a great job and he works really hard, but we haven't got that bit of guile, that person who can just make that, you know, someone like Maddison, someone of that calibre, or we've had players in the past, but...
No, I think it's a really good point, and I think we've seen it in the last home game against West Ham.
Yeah.
For me, when Gomez come on, he give us a bit of that. Now, it's tough, isn't it? Because as you say, you've got Decore, who before his injury was the man who was coming up with the goals.
Yeah.
Hasn't quite got back to that since he's come back, but for me, he doesn't look fit. He doesn't look as fit as he was. However, you're definitely missing that guile without someone like that in the number 10. Another, person who's come in for criticism, from us on the podcast, but maybe for Everton fans, has been James Garner in terms of his, I guess, lack of willingness to play them more forward and incisive passes, and the fact that it's a little bit too safe.
Yeah.
Is Andre, going back to my original point, is Andre Gomez someone you think you would like to see a bit more in the team, or you?
Yeah, I think it's a tough one, because when he has come on and he's added something, hasn't he? He got that goal a few weeks back, and I do agree. I think he's got a bit more about him. I think I quite rate Garner. I think he has been good, but I get that whole thing around. We've got kind of 3 centre midfielders who are quite similar. Ball winning midfielders, working hard, but maybe not got that little bit of class sometimes to find that little unlock that defence or find that pass. So.
Yeah, and I think I'm with you on Garner. I do like Garner as a player. I think it's one of them where you'd have kind of 3 stages as a player in any team. It's trying to get yourself into the team, then trying to establish yourself in the team, and then trying to prove yourself going on. I think he's at that 3rd stage now where he's broke in, he's established himself, but it's now like, what now? And I think in particular the thing that's been most disappointing for me about Garner, and this is a little bit aside from the points I've just made then, is the set pieces. Been so poor, the delivery, and at the weekends again it cost us, where it was from one of our set pieces that they broke away and got the penalty in, and that's an area of the pitch, certainly at the start of the season where he was coming in for for praise for his good delivery. We were getting goals from it. Those goals have subsequently dried up, and at times we're losing goals because of it as well.
Yeah, no, it's there's been a few, hasn't there, where I think he's probably has lacked a bit, but I don't think it's just.
No, it's not just him.
It's
not just him. I think one thing I'd maybe say, and doesn't necessarily completely address the problem, but you look at the delivery he put in for the goal against West Ham last week.
Yeah.
It's from that right back position, and you're saying it, and I'm agreeing with you. To be fair, Ben Godfrey, as good a defender and as industrious as he is, and actually I think he's been a huge positive in general since he's come into the team.
Agreed. Yeah.
When you come up against the team, whereas in your words they're there for the taking, as I think West Ham were the week before.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You want players in them fullback areas that can give you a bit more, and I think he's capable of doing that, and I'm not advocating him coming out of the team, but maybe he is a player who can go into another position to allow a Gomez to come in.
Yeah, I think that's. Yeah, I think we need to try something a bit different, don't we? Because I think we do get them chances, and that we get that ball in that position, at the fullback position, but it's probably we're not. Sometimes we're a bit safe, but I think that comes with that confidence. Confidence is down, it's tough, and I think then you stop playing them passes, you play that safe ball, and it's looking for that person to step up and who's going, I'm willing to have a go, and they might lose the ball, they might give it away, and you may have talked about it in the past, but Barkley, look at Barkley, what he's doing, and
we spoke about it last week. It's devastating.
Yeah, and someone like him, that little bit of something about him who could maybe create that bit, but. I don't think we're that far away from going on a run again.
No, I
try
agree.
to be positive. I think
it does feel like it's coming,
So hopefully we get some
It does
points.
feel like it's coming, and I think, I've very much been an advocate of the manager's work, and I think I've been defending him in the sense that I believe it's a lot down to the players. That says, as the manager, you're there to motivate the players. You're there to provide them with confidence when they haven't got it, which you're pointing to there.
Yeah.
You're there for probably. To try and, as you've just said, is to try and mix it up every now and again, move the positions around. He's pretty much put that same 11 out again, which, you can't argue. Look at it and you think, there aren't many better players. However, just slightly tweaking the formation, slightly, moving one player to another position, it's just bringing a little bit of freshness to it, isn't it? Which is hard to do when you've got such a small squad. But if I'm going to try and play devil's advocate when there's a lot of people criticising the manager, that's probably one thing I'd level at him.
Yeah.
That's probably fair, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that is fair. Yeah.
But yeah, moving on slightly. We've got some questions from a lot of followers. Naturally, there's a lot of people who are disappointed on Sunday after the defeat. Before we do so, I am going to bring in our other sponsor. A bit of a word from Claire and our other sponsor. It's Tick Property Group. Again, if you're looking to sell your house, if you're considering selling your house, if you maybe just want a valuation, please check out our sponsors, Tick Property Group.
Tick Property Group are your local Liverpool-based estate agents with over 300 5-star reviews on Trustpilot. By selling your home now for an unbeatable offer of £497, your home will be advertised across all major portals, including Rightmove and Zoopla. You will also receive professional photography, floor plans, and a bespoke stylish video tour of your home. So take the stress out of selling and let Tick Property Group be your personal estate agent. Book your free valuation today and quote across the park to receive a 10% fee discount.
Thank you very much to Claire for providing their professional voiceover on that. I definitely couldn't have done that as well as her. But as it says in the video there, please check them out for your free valuation. Again, if you're looking to try and sell your property, if you're maybe just curious as to what's out there on the market or what you can get, please check out Tick Property Group. So yeah, Chris, here we go. These are the questions we've got from some of our followers, and as you can imagine, these questions come in on Sunday, so they're fairly negative. Fresh, yeah. I'm going to start with a general, I guess, question or dig against the manager. It's come from Thomas B46. Again, I assume your name's Thomas, but I'm not going to make assumptions. It's Tom, actually. It's got Tom before this. So this is from Tom. Imagine if Benitez or Big Sam, God, it hurts me even saying those names, were in charge. Would people on here still be blaming the points deduction? No. Dyche is dividing the fan base, and it's division we don't need.
Yeah, I mean, I think so far, like Dyche he's come in, he's stabilised last year, and I don't think they were that far away from a good performance. I think there has been some positives, but it's the goals, and you know, it's as time goes on, if we keep not picking these points up, and I think, you know, we have to look at the manager a little bit. I'm fairly for Dyche at the moment. I think, you know, defensively he's got a strong. I think it's just how do we find that now? And I think, like you were saying before, tactically, is there something we can start to tweak and start to think outside the box a little bit? You know, looking at some of the academy players, can we mix some things up a bit, like maybe Garner, like you were saying, moving back? So I think, but, you know, as it goes on, you know, you do naturally start looking at the manager and what's he doing to kind of stop the rot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of these points we've already made, by the way, so apologies if we're reiterating things, but Come On You Blues on Twitter says, he goes on to kind of add to Tom's points, and he says, we lack quality and any real coaching in the final thirds, which is maybe something I alluded to before. It can't not be on him. So basically, this Come On You Blues, and I'm sure your name is here, but that's the page. It can't not be on him. Do you think he has enough coaching ability to change this? Now, this is before you answer that question, there's another one that's kind of on a similar level, so I just want to bring that one in as well. Where are we? It's pointing to the fact that Dyche is kind of being similar. So here we go. It's Manny who said there's a reason that Dyche averages less than a goal a game through his career, and it's his attack and play. He's great as a defensive coach, but lacks any attacking ideas. Zero patterns of play, relying on set pieces. What is your opinion? Surely he has to improve the players and not just blame them. So again, that's two people with a very similar opinion in terms of, is Sean Dyche the person to come out and get us more goals? One thing that seems to be a trend, I'm sorry to loads of questions on you, this is just from me as well. A lot of teams these days, and you know, Arsenal being one of them, have employed a set piece coach. Yeah. Now, it seems to me, again, with the margins being so tight, and we're with a team that's lacking in that guile, as you've said, in creativity. Yeah. That's something, again, you'd think would be a bit of an easy win, wouldn't it? Yeah. So I think the creativity and getting them goals, I think, is the biggest thing at the minute. And maybe long term, Dyche isn't the manager to maybe take us forward. But I think what we need at the time, and I think what we still need, is that solidity. Yeah. But absolutely, we need to start scoring some goals. So, you know, I know we had a brief chat about it, and there's kind of like Calvert-Lewin, you know, he's not working for him at the minute. Beto, but they're getting the chances. That's it, yeah.
They're getting the chances, and then that's a bit on, well, we can blame the manager, but, you know, maybe taking some of them chances takes that pressure off a little bit. So I think it's all a few different things. I think, you know, replacing the manager isn't necessarily gonna change we haven't got money, you know.
Exactly.
So.
No, I'm with you.
It's tough, really, yeah.
I'm with you. It is very tough, and again, look, who are we to be trying to pinpoint what someone who's worked in the Premier League for over 10, 12 years can't do at the moment. But it is a difficult one to put your finger on. And again, like me, and maybe we'll try and in the coming weeks get one of these people on who are massively against Dyche. But I'm really struggling to put it all on him.
Yeah.
When, as you say, you've got players like Calvert-Lewin who have scored in the past, you know, as recently as the start of the season. Beto, who, you know, has come into the team. When he's come in the team, he's invariably had chances at the very least, but he's also scored goals as well. McNeil's not weighing in the goals you would expect him to. I think, you know, Harrison looks poor at times when he's in that position to execute and looks indecisive.
I don't know about putting Harrison in that like number 10. I think he's got that bit, and I think you know, when we were speaking before, I think we lack a bit of pace. Like for me, you know, sometimes we look a bit slow, and you know, I rate McNeil, but sometimes I think, you know, we've got a lot. He's strikes similar a lot of ways to Harrison. You know, he's technically very good, but whether we can move one of them inside and get a bit of pace on.
No, it's a good point. I think it's a really good point, actually. We definitely
beat that
lack
man.
that incisive. Yeah.
You know, Garnacho the other day, you know, he didn't do loads. And,
it was just fresh, wasn't it? It was just
sharp wins that tackle, you know, wins that penalty. And I think if we had a bit more of that, you know, maybe just freshening up maybe the formation and just moving people around a little bit to kind of create that bit of creativity in midfield, I think we'd like to see. Yeah, I would like to see.
Yeah, definitely. We've got that 3-week break in, which I believe the players are going over to Portugal. Yeah. Obviously, a bit of a chance for them to reset. Hopefully, a bit of a chance for the manager and the coaches to bring in some ideas, but more specifically, a chance for the likes of Arnaud Danjuma to maybe be back. And you know, it's always absence makes the heart grow fonder, doesn't it? And before his absence, I was looking at Danjuma thinking, what does he do? But then you look back at the games that he has an impact on, and one thing he does do, he beats a man on a regular basis. He's sharp. He gets in behind. Not someone who's been taking chances, so maybe it's another person who might be wasteful. But I think he does give us something that certainly the two other wingers don't give us.
No, because they're just a different style of player in there. But yeah, I'd like to see Danjuma back. I'm a bit of a fan of his, but he's not had many minutes, has he?
No.
And now he's with an injury, so.
And look again.
Come back and,
yeah, but I'm trying to play devil's advocate again, and maybe another criticism of the manager, the likes of Arnaud Danjuma, Lewis Dobbin, don't seem to get minutes, and they are that type of player that, all right, they maybe need a bit of protection, but surely when you've got fullbacks like Godfrey and Michalenko, is that not enough protection?
Yeah, go.
You know, you've got an Arna who's capable of you know, putting out fires. You've got Garner who's the same. You've got Garner Guy, so surely there's an opportunity there to allow your wingers to just be a bit more free. Look, Garnacho, I don't see Garnacho chasing back and, you know, as deep as the fullback at all at the weekend. He was almost given that license to go, look, you pick the ball up on the half turn, you go and get it to the defence and hurt them. You know, if it comes off, great. He's won 2 penalties there, but he's won them by being very high up the pitch. And when he's got it, just having that freedom to go and drive at defenders.
Yeah, I think maybe part of the style of Dyche, isn't it? It's working super hard off the ball. When you get it, maybe they're not as fresh because you're constantly pressing. You know, but then they should be fit. We should be ready. So
you think
it's hard to pin when it's not going your way, innit? It's like where's the?
It is absolutely, and I think it's quite easy to you know, blame the managers. Some of these, there's a lot of messages here, by the way. One from Andy. And this is again a frustrating one for me personally, but you know, from a mentality point of view. But we are where we are, hoping other teams slip up whilst your team is at an all-time low. Is no way to enjoy football. I love that. So basically, we're relying on other teams to lose, and we're, you know, we just seem to lose every week. We need to be brave as a club, and in the summer, ask someone like David Weir, maybe Graham Potter to come in. Let them use the inevitable Onana and Branthwaite money to build an identity. He's put in identity in capitals. Staying like this is depressing. It'll be years like this under Dyche. Interesting take.
Yeah, I think we would. I would like to see another manager come in. You know, but I think this year, I don't think changing the manager at the minute.
He said in the summer.
Yeah, I think that's.
It's a chance of a reset, isn't it? I think if that's what you feel we need. I mean, Dyche will look at it, and I'm sure, and he'll claim, look, give me the Branthwaite and you know, Onana money, which what they're talking about. It's fairly inevitable, isn't it, that those will move on in the summer. And you would like to think that at least the money from one of those sales will be able to be reinvested. And his argument might be, well, I could bring in other players, but you know, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because, you know, we've gone from David Moyes to Martinez in the past. You would probably say that's a similar type of
bit more risky move.
It is, isn't it? It styles, from Deitz to Potter would be very much like from Moyes to Martinez, and it did work at first.
It was great for a season, wasn't it?
It was great when, again, everyone acknowledges we had the solidity of David Moyes, but then as soon as that came undone, it was worse, wasn't it?
It was worse, yeah. We had a good season. I had a season ticket then.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think bit manager, bit players, isn't it? And I think if I genuinely do think with some of the performance we've had, I think if it clicks and goes our way, I think we can go have another run. We said before, didn't we? So
no,
I'm to see that. Just sometimes that confidence, breeds more confidence. So.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. And again, I know one of the followers here mentioned about let's forget about the 10 points. You can't forget about the 10 points, can you? Because we would be considerably higher up the league, and everyone's perspective of the situation changes. Even from a confidence point of view, if 6 games ago the players are looking at it going, we're 11th, 12th in the league, let's forget about this barren run.
Yeah. But
now they're looking at it going, well, actually we're 16th, 17th or whatever, and we're hovering above the drop zone, and we also haven't won since December. That impacts your perception of the situation.
Everything becomes more, like we were saying before, that risk you take, you're willing to take more risk when you're a bit more comfortable. Now everything's like hyper focused on it.
Yeah.
So maybe the players are feeling that as well.
Definitely. What just off topic slightly, because again we've got plenty more questions, but I don't think there's any more that we can mention without going over the same thing. What's your perception of the other teams down there? Because they're a big factor, and one of the followers just pointed out then, I think it was Andy, who said, look, hoping for other teams to slip up. But, you've got Luton who look, like, I mean, they've got a last minute equaliser at the weekend, which was great for them. Disappointing for us. They don't look the same team as they were 6 to 8 weeks ago. They look as though they're starting to struggle with that pressure of fielding the same 11 every week.
Yeah. No, I think Luton have... they did look good for a while, and I think they've got a few players, and again, even them, I think they've got a couple of players they can get a result, if they're on it, and that worries me a bit. So I think
are probably in that category as well, aren't they?
Yeah, Forest. Yeah, I think they will go down, Forest, but
that's probably again going to be compounded by the deduction.
Yeah. And whether we get ours as well, I think is the. I mean, going back to your point earlier, is whether the point deduction, we actually played better after it, and had we not got the point deduction, would we have had that run of games that kind of forced us forward? So, not asking for another point deduction, but
no, please no, yeah.
But
please
I think whether we've got it in there, so how do we turn things around and get that run going again without, maybe that comes down to the manager and motivating them players and,
Yeah, I think. Listen, I think the break comes at I mean, it's never good to go into a break, I don't think, on the back of a defeat. However, I think if Forest and Luton was a one and we were right in there, I think you'd be like, no, we don't want 3 weeks now of focusing on that. But I don't think it's a bad time for a break. I mean, I'm going to bring them up now. Actually, I was looking at some of the fixtures coming up, and I would definitely say that on the kinder sides for us. I mean, I think we've got over. I wouldn't say got over the tough fixtures. They're never easy in the Premier League, but you look at the fixtures we've got coming up. We've got Bournemouth away when we come back, which is it's not easy. Bournemouth are a decent side, but it's winnable. You've got Newcastle away, which is a tough one. Then you've got Burnley at home. You've got Forest at home a couple of weeks later. You're starting to get home games there. I mean, look, home games have not been easy for us. Let's be frank about that. But I don't look at the fixtures coming up and think, well, we're not getting anything for any of them. I mean, Newcastle, I've had other commitments. They've struggled with injuries themselves. Burnley at home, come on, that is a huge game, isn't it? I mean, game. At the moment, as we speak, it's the last time we won, isn't it?
We won, yeah.
But Burnley at home looks like a game. It looks like a must-win game, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, coming back into it, Bournemouth away, I think, you probably take a point there. Newcastle away, you can't be going there expecting to win, but then you've got Burnley at home, Chelsea away, very tough, Forest at home, Brentford at home, Luton away. I mean, those 3 fixtures, Forest at home, Brentford at home, Luton away, then Sheffield United at home. We've got 4 fixtures there. Yeah, we end of April and May, where you're thinking that that should be 4 fixtures that
we're getting
10 to 12 points.
Yeah.
It's very much in our hands as it should be. But as we've said, assuming that there's not another 10 points deduction, but I think it's very much in our hands, and I'm really hoping this 3 week break is what the players
maybe
need.
a bit of a rest and refocus and get some of their niggles, like you say, in Decore, whether he's as fit as he was when he went off injured. So be good to see.
Do you know what I'd like to see as well on this 3-week break? And I've moaned about it for quite a bit, and you mentioned it before. I'd just love for them to spend some time getting Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Beto to speak to each other or know exactly what each other... How many times have they come on and they look like they've never even been on the same pitch?
Yeah, that movement, like they're not... It's not... You can tell they haven't played together, can you?
And it's something that for me, when, you know, I remember Dyche's Burnley and they had Barnes and Wood, they were a threat, weren't they? And it was like, you're two big men. And it's, you can't really think of that many partnerships down the years where you've got two big men that are two typical target men to work together. But he managed to achieve that at Burnley. I'd love to see the team come back and see that chemistry had been developed.
Yeah, it's like frightening teams, isn't it? You know, when they come to play, you're giving your centre halves a bad, you know, you're having a rough game. You've got two of them playing up against you, winning them flick-ons, battling, and like you say, they just don't seem to be like it's like two players not working together. So whether we can get that a few weeks away in Portugal and try and get
that's where I think you can really that's where you think you can really make Goodison ugly. Because that's, you know, when you think of the years gone by when we've been so difficult to play against the Goodison, it's normally been compounded by a big man just bullying the life out of the defenders, hasn't it? Or one or two of them, or someone coming off the bench. I mean, Chimitis hardly has any minutes. Another player where you think he's got pace, he's got energy. Again, can you find a way to get that pace and energy into the team? And that's what it made me think. And going back to your point earlier on, I think we said it off air, it's difficult for our young players to come into this team. He's got to find a way for that to happen. Whether we call... I mean, we've got to class Chimitis as a young player, regardless of the fact he was a sign. He's still only, 21? So he's a young player. He's new to the Premier League. But he's definitely got that rawness about him that the likes of McNeil and Harrison aren't bringing to the team at the moment.
Yeah. Be like, I think like we were chatting about earlier, it'd be good to see Chimiti. I quite like the look of Dobbin, and I know he's not had... When he's come on, he's not really produced, but he's not had that many minutes. He's not had a start, and whether we just try it, but he does look sharp. You know, he's got that bit of pace about him. You know, maybe he needs a run of games to see if he can bring something different, because I think we're flat at the minute, aren't we? And we're not getting goals. So, and I think you made a really good point. You know, we're strong defensively and we've got that good guard. Like, we need to maybe say, you know, play with that bit more, you know, a bit more creativity, take a bit more risk up front. You know, and because 6 in 10 goals.
6 goals in 10 games. Yeah, you brought that up at the start, and it's a remarkably poor stat. And again, the stat that we're the most ineffective team in Europe on an XG perspective, which is just I said that, you know, we're phenomenally poor last week, and it is. Yeah, it's like even Everton couldn't come up with that stat. I just can't believe how Everton that stat is. Yeah, the most inefficient team in Europe in the whole in terms of converting chances. Wow. I mean, that's where you've got to have a degree of sympathy for the manager, because that should have ultimately put at least another 6, 9, maybe 12 points on the board, and the pitch is completely different. But I'm with you, and hopefully that is the mentality of the management team and the coaching team going into this break. Is, look, we need to find a plan B, a plan C. We need to get some of these players that are occupying spaces on the bench who historically, either for their previous clubs or in the youth teams, have got goals in them. Yeah. And we need to find a way of them translating them goals and bringing them into the team. Yeah, definitely. But that's about it for us this week. It's obviously there's no games coming up for the next few weeks. We'll look for ideas on content over the coming weeks. Obviously, we don't want to come in next week and be talking about the Man United game 2 weeks ago or anything like that. But in the meantime, please get behind Chris. You know, Chris's fantastic cause. Top Evertonian. You know, having a real battle against leukemia, which is one of the most, you know, difficult battles you can have. However, you know, with all the support he's getting, obviously from yourself, Chris, and the public, I'm sure it'll give him that determination when he wakes up every day, and that's exactly what he needs. So let's use these 3 weeks to get behind that cause, and anything else that's going on that they can influence in your own life. I always say to Millsy, you know, unfortunately, we can't do a lot about these things on the pitch, you know, and these conundrums we're coming up. We can't do a lot about that as fans, but we can support each other as a fan group, and please let's do that. But yeah, as always, please subscribe if you don't already. The button should be in the bottom right of your screen if you're watching it on YouTube. It really helps us to get some extra perks from YouTube. Please follow us on Instagram and Twitter. It's at Across the Park PC. as I've just said, then in the description of our episode this week, we've got a link to Chris's Just Giving page. Please get behind him. Even if the likes of this just inspires you to get out and do a few kilometres yourself, I'm sure that's something that you're looking to do, Chris, as part of your challenge. And again, we'll tag you. So in fact, no, there's an update on the Just Giving as well, doesn't it? It's got some pictures.
It's got like, it's linked to your Strava, so
Class.
once you put it on, and you can see every day. And like I say, there's been a few people who've come out from work who, not necessarily like keen runners, but done a bit. And even if someone joins for a few Ks, it's good to get people out and about. And most importantly, it's an important cause, And
it's brilliant.
Just getting behind Chris, and hopefully makes a quick recovery.
I'm sure he will with all that support. I think it'll make a massive difference. But again, thanks to everyone for tuning in this week. I'm sorry we haven't been able to bring you a lot of fantastic news, but again, like I've said before, let's try and control the controllables. Get yourself out if you can. Get yourself on a run. Please try and support Chris and their combined cause. And we'll catch you all soon. Up the toffees.